eating what's left of my scrambled egg, of my 6 scrambled eggs in the microwave. My little diced potatoes, red pepper, and onion. With like a half a bottle of ketchup, salt, and pepper. I'm full. I'm full. And I'm realizing I'm eating egg and I'm getting, no, it's too much salt. It's not the best, but it's not the worst. It's not made in a frying pan on a skillet. What do you want? Go away. I'm eating backwards. I had my chocolate chunk cookie, that's right, my chocolate chunk cookie. Hey, I had my chocolate chunk cookie this morning with Hershey bars. Add some of my pineapple, my unripened pineapple. I had a free Slurpee from 7-Eleven with a fill-up. I got a fill-up on gas, and I got a free Slurpee. I'm almost broke. They made me go through every single penny again. Can't get my car fixed, so then I won't have money to eat and survive. I'm full. I can't eat my Whew. Oh my God. Drink my ice water. I just took some medicine, so it's gonna make me go to sleep. I'm gonna go night-night. I see you, Larry Wall. I see you in your truck. You said you were in North Carolina, you liar. I need a lemon, man. This water is nasty, yo. There's a dove up on the light pole. Oh, all the lights are on. in the Walmart parking lot. I can't afford to get braces. Can't go to the dentist because I'm not healthy. My phone turned on itself at 2%. I'm full, but I gotta eat as much as I can of this before it goes bad. I just washed dishes and now they're all dirty again, except for 3 bowls. See what I gotta deal with? The potatoes are nothing but mushy because they were going bad. But that's okay. My haters and enemies don't bother me no more. You know why? Because I'm still like 8 months fucking pregnant. That's not why. But I got the door open right now because it's nice and cool. It was hot in here. And my Band-Aid wasn't sticking to my face. See? It's like not really sticking. Because of the sweat. They're fucking with me again. Gonna make me go through all my fucking Band-Aids. Oh. Oh man, my stomach. I'm so full, yo. Don't fucking start with me. Why is my battery to don't start with me, bitch? It's a brand new fucking charger. And I don't want the CVS Band-Aids. They don't stick on very well. Oh, that's what I did. I took from this. See, I got the CVS Band-Aids on this side and the Dollar Tree on this side, and I confused the two. And I got my lemongrass mint. Where is it? My mint. lemongrass green tea, which I'll probably make tomorrow. But I gotta make some more lemon. I gotta make some lemon. I gotta buy a lemon. My stomach, yo, I'm so full. I had a stomach ache earlier. It was really bad because I had indigestion. See, they're not. One side is kind of sticky, the other isn't. I had to put my hair up. It was too hot. Oh, well. Gotta throw out my garbage bag. Another one. And then I gotta cut up my pineapple and put it into a container. But no one helped me. They partook in my demise, my downfall, and my separation from myself and my son. You know, see, my mommy had help. She had people to leave her children with. But she didn't choose to go out and get a job to supplement her welfare income. Instead, she ran around with Richie from bar to bar. She didn't love me or my sister or the guys that she had us by because she didn't know what love was at that time. She still doesn't. She never learned the process. Many of you think the process of love is to smoke, drink, drug, sex, party, fuck, suck, dick, and lick. my Lord. So how do let me get this straight. I already know, but I gotta say it right. Okay? I'm suffering because my mommy and daddy's era, as well as my grandmother and grandfather, and my daddy's mother and father, and my grandmother and grandfather on my daddy's side, both on my maternal and paternal side, both fucked up. Because both their children were fucked. My mom and my dad. Now, let's take it the next step, right? Okay? I met my great-grandmother and grandfather, but they were in their 90s. And I was only about 7 or 8 years old. And, I ate backwards. Hi, Jeffrey Mullen. So, what I'm talking about is how I got into my situation, how my situation developed. Not by my own doing. Now, okay, you could say, well, where's the accountability? Where's the responsibility of your choices and decisions, actions, and behaviors? Hold up. You got to know the full and complete details. We all have stories to tell and not to tell, for some. Oh, I'm full. But our stories are not the same. I knew what was wrong with my story, my family, and with the world, and with the people when I was younger. Now, you gotta also know, okay, I'm trying to explain the equation to you guys, and I gotta do it on paper and show you by paper, or by a board. And I wish I could do that, but I could do that actually. I should have bought that chalkboard, but that wouldn't have been easy. It was small. Not really. I was just thinking of how to give you a view, a vision, an actual picture, and so I can explain to you. I got a couple more bites of food, but I'm full. I'm not buying no more eggs. Daddy holding the little girl, and she's like hugging him, laying down on his shoulder, while Mommy's walking with the little boy. Okay, so the equation is usually a mom and a dad. Okay, depending on how many relatives of yours are alive. Okay, but let's go into the lineage of each and every one of us, okay? The family generations, the generations of family that are here or not here, okay? That's our equation. But what makes up the equation and what's so important about that is that will be how, it's like that's the example that you need to work on. So you need to start asking, seeking, and knocking within your family to find out the full and complete details of the who, what, where, when, why, and how. And once you do that, you will understand why you're in the situation you're in, or why you're not in the situation you wanted to be in, or why you're in a situation you didn't want to be in. Did I say that twice? I lost track. Okay, what? I'm going to jump over to a different part of the subject, another part of the equation in which the information is needed to understand the equation that I just told you about that represents the base equation. You have to know the full and complete details that led up to your here and now, or you're not here and now. If you get that, if you know what I mean. It could be, remember, our lives are dealing with both a negative and a positive side. But just like that saying, every negative and positive has an equal and opposite. What does that mean? Well, the negative, there could be a bad negative, right? Or a good negative. Okay? You can figure out whatever example you want to fulfill that understanding. You can you can apply it to a vehicle with a good and bad node, battery node or whatever, or the same with anything, any part to the car, any part to the family. There's a negative and a positive for every negative. There's also a negative and positive for every positive. So it's an equal and opposite. You understand? So a negative and negative, positive and positive, and then you got the negative and the positive. So that's 3 different types of negatives and positives. But if I really think about it, you can have an equal and opposite. So equal, you can have the 2 negatives, then the 2 positives, that's 2. Then you can have a negative and a positive for every negative and positive. And vice versa. Okay, depending on how many people are within your family, how many relatives, and whatever the error and mistakes that they made. And most of all, or more importantly, everyone that's in a large family is a part of the negative and positive, depending on a negative and a negative, or a positive and a positive, or a negative and a positive. And what do those mean? That's a part of how we come up with our outcome and result by our choices and decisions, or the choices and decisions of others in our family. As for me and my sister, I don't know if God wants me to be speaking about her story, but I will give you some information about her and my brothers, because it all coincides and it all shows how our lives were affected and effected and impacted by the choices and decisions, or their lack of, by both our mom, our dad, mommy, and her aggressive alcoholic abuser, freeloading, mooching, womanizing, piece of shit loser. As well, I'm starting to get tired from the medicine that I took about 20 minutes ago. So anyway, hello, how are all you doing? I'm glad you're joining me, or that you're tuning in or tuned in. But I gotta swipe the comments because it's distracting me, and it's making me lose my train of thought, or the Holy Spirit. So I gotta wipe the comments away for now. And I'm getting tired. I gotta get this out. Otherwise, we're gonna keep going around that circle. We're gonna keep going around that mountain. That wheel. We're gonna keep going around that wheel of that mountain. We're gonna keep on repeating the same old ball and chain, the same old cycle. Nothing changes. We're doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result and outcome. The only thing that's gonna be different as a result and outcome is how we die. Because we're doing the same things our predecessors or our descendants or ascendants, or whatever you want to call them, losers, cheaters, stealers, killers, destroyers, those that did not do their homework internally and externally through their school years. And everybody's just repeating and making the mistakes even earlier on in their lives. I'm tired. The medicine, it took away the pain that was hurting. It's still sensitive, but it doesn't hurt now. Guys, gals, I don't know anymore. I took my allergy medicine, and I took 2. So that's 1,000 milligrams of Tylenol. Okay, active ingredient, 1 each caplet. There's, 325 milligrams of acetaminophen, which is Tylenol, basically. Diphenhydramine, which is the antihistamine, the medicine for an allergic reaction. So that's 25 milligrams. It's 12.5 milligrams per capsule. I took 2, so that's 25 milligrams. And the phenylephrine, which is 5 milligrams. That's the HCI, the phenylephrine HCI, 5 milligrams per 2. So per 1, which times 2 is 10. So it's making me tired. Do not use more than directed. Adults and children 12 years of age and over take 2 tablets every 4 hours. Hell no. And do not take more than 10 capsules in 24 hours. 10 caplets. And children under 12 years of age, 12 years, ask a doctor. They expire in 2026. August of 2026, that's next year. They won't last that long. These will be gone by middle of the month. Next month. Unless I take them every day and night. If I take them every day and night, Fallon tonight, Adam Sandler. I'll share it and I'll view it when it's on YouTube. Thanks, Jimmy Fallon, for the notification. So let me get back to explaining the equation so we understand God more on a better level, on a more greater level, because we are not even there yet. We are not where God wants us to be on the understanding charts, or to be on the understanding that He wants us to be in order for Him to take us to the next level. Because we cannot go to the next level unless He only takes those that are listening and obedient and passing the test. Whereas they will get to pass on, and then others, the masses, will be left behind to fall down below. Just like in Royal Kingdom, they have that special level where you get to play and you have to beat like the other players. And if you lose a game, then you get left behind and everybody else gets to advance. And the others fall down and fall off the little pedestal, the windowsill or whatever, or the little ladder or stepping stone, whatever. But anyway, that's another thing I gotta finish too explaining. My mom is bitching about how she didn't have no help. Nobody was there for her. Bullshit. She had her sister, her mother. She had other people that God put in her path. She didn't use the time wisely. And, okay, yes, I don't even want to take into consideration that they didn't help her in the right ways. Okay, because they were sent to be the devil to her. They were sent to kind of be that disruptor, that those heathens, hellions, minions, demons, and trolls, because people, as like my mother and like all of you and your families, have made errors and mistakes. So we have to pay for those. So God sends the heathens, hellions, minions, demons, and trolls our way to fuck with us. It's not fair, but you got to remember we're living in the devil's kingdom. Excuse me, I passed gas. We're living in the devil's kingdom, okay? And that's the reason why we're going through what we're going through and the way God is handling matters. Because of what we chose or we didn't choose, and we were forced to follow our people that made errors and mistakes. Everybody's so gung-ho about following their mommy and daddy and doing as they did. That's the problem. You're going to repeat the same things that they went through, if not worse. If not 10 times or 7 times or 11 times worse. Okay? Let me get back to the family generational lineage, okay, the family generational tribes, okay, whether they're white, black, pink, purple, blue, brown, polka dot, whatever, you get my drift. So we were supposed to do our own homework, but again, many people are copycats. They're repeating the same old that they see everybody else do. They're not doing their homework. Even when they go to school, they don't do their homework right or the way they're supposed to. They follow the book, the books in the school, and they read and they answer the questions or they remember the information and they pass the test. But did they really? Did they really? No. No. Not by any means whatsoever did they pass the educational system that they were supposed to, even on the slightest, even a piece of hair, as thin as a strand of hair, or by the skin of their teeth. Nope. Because all they did is copycat from others, and what they saw other people do, and what their families did. So we're getting the picture, the puzzle is getting even harder to put together because the pieces don't fit. Why? Because we've gotten bigger, we've gotten more stupid, more ignorant, more foolish. We've taken on too much damage and we don't know it or we don't understand it, or we do, but yet we do nothing about it. And we just continue on, oh well, that it is what it is. No. It's not supposed to be what it is. Is that a beetle or a fly? I don't know. But anyway, I gotta go pee and I gotta go poop soon. And I gotta get rid of my garbage bag. Posted for the first time in a while, Ashley Care Squillow. What you been up to? So, let me get back to the equation here. In order to understand all the factors or digits in the equation, which are you, me, our family, our relatives, our siblings, our generational tribes that are no longer or still with us, if you're lucky enough to have 2 or 3 generations of people existent or more, which you're blessed, but you're not really blessed. I'll explain that in a little bit. Okay, those of you that have big families and that are still living, or you still have your great-great-great-grandparents or whatever, you know, in that, or a scenario, or you have all your siblings and past relatives from a previous, either a previous relationship or from other siblings that had relations from with other people many, many moons ago. You know, whatever the case and scenario. I gotta like move my knee home. So, the equation, the factors, the integers, how they're living and not living, how they're choosing and not choosing, how they're deciding and not deciding, the who, what, when, where, why, and how. Okay? And all of that leads to what? A recipe or the pursuit of happiness, the so-called anyway, that many are not achieving or accomplishing. Why, you ask? Because they didn't plan and prepare. They didn't equip and establish and ready and prepare themselves. They didn't take the time to get all their ducks in a row, so to speak. They went and smoked, drank, drug, sex, party, F-sucked, and dicked, and licked. I don't like saying those things, but I have to in order to get the message, the full message across. Because all of those things are involved. And the color shirt I'm wearing is the color of my prom dress that I never got to wear. It might have been a little bit darker and shinier because it was like a gown. It was like it wasn't too puffy, but it wasn't too straight. It was perfect. And I don't know who took that from my apartment that I abandoned on Federal Street. I know Willie, not the chubby heavy one, or the somewhat heavy one. It was the other Willie. And he wanted to take my dress and use it for some boxers. He wanted to cut up the material and use them for some boxers. So I'm sure that's probably what he did. He probably took it when I was at work or whatever, because my sister let every Tom, Dick, and Harry into my apartment instead of being in school. And that was because my mommy, who left me and my sister with another family and made their house become like a flop house. You know, leaving their children, my mom leaving her children with others that had children to take care of. And everybody else was in and out of that house because it was like a go-to house to help people, friends of friends and whatnot. Okay? But my mommy was blessed to have that help, but she didn't do what she needed to do during the time she had this help, where she left me and my sister with. She was with Richie down at the bars at downtown Bridgeport, or wherever